Hello guys, today we'll learn about the sacrum, okay? And the osteology of the abdomen and pelvis we have already covered. The vertebral, lumbar vertebrae, right? And today we'll learn about the sacrum, okay? The sacrum is a large triangular fusion of 5 vertebrae, okay? Remember that. This is S1 to S5, fusion of S1 to S5 and forms the posterior superior wall of the pelvic cavity. Posterior superior wall of the pelvic cavity, wedged between the two hip bones, right? You know the position of the sacrum, right? As we have already discussed to some length about sacrum during sacroiliac joint, right? SI joint, okay? We have discussed in a great length about the its some special features, right? How the anatomy of the sacrum itself is contributing to the stability of the SI joint, thereby it is transmitting the weight and load, right? Okay. Its blunted caudal apex articulates with the coccyx, right? So its apex, this is base, this is apex, okay? Here there will be coccyx and here there will be L5, right? And its superior wide base with fifth lumbar vertebra at the lumbosacral angle, right? There will be some angle. It is set obliquely and curved longitudinally. The dorsal surface is convex and the pelvic surface is concave, right? This ventral curvature increases the pelvic capacity, right? That means the pelvic surface, which is the ventral or anterior curvature, increases the pelvic capacity, right? Pelvic cavity, the volume of the pelvic cavity is increased because of this curvature, right? You see, uh, this is the pelvic cavity, right? This is curved to some extent. You see, this is the pelvis, right? And the sacrum sits, okay, between the two hip bones, right? The selected one is sacrum, right? This is the sacrum. You see, there is a curvature, right? There is an angle, okay, that increases the capacity of the pelvic cavity, right? That is coccyx. The selected one is coccyx. You see how the coccyx is articulating with the apex and how the apex is articulating with the L5 vertebra, right? This is the intervertebral disc. This is L5 vertebra, right? The sacrum is inclined to some extent, right? It is angled, right? So the pelvic surface is concave, okay? The thing visible to you is the pelvic surface, whereas this one is the dorsal surface. Dorsal surface is concave, right? This one is convex, right? Whereas the pelvic surface is concave, right? So between base and apex, so it has base, it has apex, and and three surfaces: dorsal surface, pelvic surface, and lateral surface, and along with that there is sacral canal. Okay. In childhood, individual sacral vertebrae are connected by cartilage. The adult bone retains many vertebral features. Okay. So the sacrum is the fusion of 5 vertebrae. So there will be some rudimentary uh, vertebral features will be there. Okay. So you see, this is lumbar vertebrae, coccyx. It's articulating with apex and it is articulating with the base, right? And this is the dorsal surface. So here is the sacral canal. Okay, here it is sacral canal. Okay, coming to the base. The base is upper surface of the first sacral vertebra. That means S1, right? The least modified from the typical vertebral plan. So the base is not so much modified from the typical vertebra. The body is large, that means vertebral body or S1 body, and wider transversely, and is anterior projecting edge is sacral promontory. So the anterior edge of the S1 vertebral body is called as sacral promontory, right? The vertebral foramen is triangular. The pedicles are short and diverge posterolaterally. Okay, they may not see as pedicles, but you can see that. You see, this is the body. Okay, this is the base. Okay, and the anterior edge. Okay, which is sacral promontory, right? So this is the base. This is the sacral promontory. The laminae are oblique, inclining down and posteromedially to meet a spinous tubercle. The superior articular processes project cranially with concave articular facet directed posteromedially to articulate with the inferior articular process of the fifth lumbar vertebra. Right? You'll see that. You see, this is the superior articular. This is the superior articular facets, right? They articulate with the inferior articular facets of the L5 vertebra, right? You'll see that in, see, uh, you see how that is the superior articular facet that is articulating with the inferior articular facet of the L5 vertebra, right? Superior articular facets, two superior articular facets with articulating with the L5 vertebra, right? So what we have read is the superior articular process project cranially with concave articular facets directs posteromedially, right? You see, this is the anatomical position of the sacrum. So the articular facets projects posterior and medial, right? They're converging, right, towards the medial side. Whereas the inferior articular facet of the L5 vertebra is facing laterally, right? So see, posterior and medial, right? The facet is to articulate with the inferior articular facet, fifth lumbar vertebra. The posterior part of each process projects backwards and its lateral aspect bears a rough area homologous with mammillary process. Okay, we may not appreciate that in the atlas. The transverse process is much modified as broad sloping mass that projects laterally from the body, pedicle and superior articular process, right? It is formed by the fusion of the transverse process and the costal element each other and the rest and forms the upper surface of the sacral lateral mass or ala. So the transverse process is, right, transverse process unite and forms this ala, right, the that adjoining the hip bone, right, besides the hip bone, that is called as ala, right? We'll see that. You see, this is the ala, right? Ala or wing, right? Ala means wing. So these are the transverse processes, right? TVP, okay, fusion of transverse process along with their costal element, right? Costal element is already rudimentary in the lumbar vertebrae and cervical vertebrae. You all know that because there are no ribs in order to articulate with, right? They are fused with the transverse process. So here the transverse process along with the costal element becomes the lateral surface and the ala, right? Ala is smooth superiorly, concave medially, rough laterally, and covered almost entirely by psoas major muscle. The smooth area is grooved obliquely by the lumbosacral trunk, right? Remember that. Rough area is for the lower band of the iliolumbar ligament. So there will be psoas major, lumbosacral trunk, and attachment of iliolumbar ligament, which lies lateral to the fifth lumbar spinal nerve and the anterior sacroiliac joint ligament. Okay, this is the ala. So here there is sympathetic trunk, lumbosacral trunk, iliolumbar artery, and obturator nerve. Okay, these are the relationships of ala. Coming, that is the base. Okay, so base is the least modified from the vertebral body, right? Which has promontory and which has ala, right? Ala has attachments with iliolumbar ligament and is entirely covered by psoas major muscle, right? You see, uh, if we see now, this is anterior sacroiliac ligament. Hide it. This iliolumbar ligament, that selected structure is iliolumbar ligament. Okay, actually it's attached to the ala, right? Ala. Okay. Coming to the pelvic surface, that is anterior surface or ventral surface, is vertically and transversely concave, but second sacral body may produce convexity, right? You see, this is so this is the pelvic surface which is concave, right? We can see the concavity right there. Four pairs of pelvic sacral foramina communicate with the sacral canal through intervertebral foramina and transmits ventral rami of the upper four sacral spinal nerves. Okay, right. So there are four. One, two, three, four. Four foramina which communicates with the sacral canal. Okay. Now I will show you the sacral canal. Right. Now this is the, you see, that is the sacral canal, right? The opening there. Okay, posterior to the base, the opening there is the sacral canal, and you see this is the opening, right? That is the sacral hiatus, right? So that is the sacral canal. Okay, so this anterior sacral foramina and these are the dorsal or posterior sacral foramina, they open into this sacral canal, right? So you see the openings there, right? Okay, so S1 to S4, upper four sacrospinal nerves, the large area between right and left foramina, which is formed by the flat pelvic aspects of the sacral bodies, bears evidence of their fusion at the four transverse ridges. There will be transverse ridges, right? So you see, so there are ridges between the sacrovertebral foramina. You see, these are the ridges, right? And these are the sacral foramina. Okay, four pairs, and they open into the sacral canal that lies there, right? These are the fused vertebral bodies of S2 to S4, right? Okay, we have already covered this. The longitudinal bars between the foramina are costal elements. Okay, the bars are costal elements which fuse to the vertebra. Lateral to the foramina, the costal elements unite. Okay, I'll show you. You see, lateral to the foramina, the costal elements unites, right? You see, this is the costal element. Lateral to this costal element, all costal elements are unite. unite. Posteriorly, they unite with the transverse process to form the lateral part of the sacrum, which expands basally as the alum. Okay, lateral surface is also formed by the costal elements of S2 to S5. You see, this is the pelvic surface. These are the ridges. Okay, transverse line ridges, 4 ridges, 4 sacral foramina. Okay, anterior sacral foramina. This is the base and promontory, right? So the uniting of costal elements on the posterior surface forms the lateral surface of the sacrum. The first 3 sacral ventral rami emerge from the pelvic sacral foramina and pass anterior to the piriformis. Right? First 3. The sympathetic trunk descends in contact with the bone, right? Medial to the foramina, as do the median sacral vessels in the midline. Lateral to the foramina, lateral sacral vessels are related to the bone. Ventral surface of the first, second, and part of the third sacral bodies are covered by parietal peritoneum and crossed obliquely left of midline by the attachment of the sigmoid mesocolon. You see, 1, 2, 3, right? S1, S2, S3. Okay, they pass in front of piriformis, right? There is piriformis muscle. This is the piriformis muscle. They pass in front of the piriformis muscle, right? Whereas the sympathetic trunk, okay, we haven't covered that. The autonomic nervous system of the body. We'll discuss that in detail in some other class, right? But the sympathetic trunk is almost very near to the bone, whereas this lumbosacral trunk passes in front of the psoas major, right? You see, this is the sympathetic trunk. Okay, see, sympathetic trunk, right? This is very adjoining to the bone, right? Very, whereas this is the piriformis muscle. Okay, lumbosacral trunk, this is the lumbosacral trunk. Okay, passes in front of the, see, uh, sacral plexus along with lumbosacral trunk, right? And there is, you see, sigmoid mesocolon is in the pelvis, right? This is the sigmoid mesocolon, I guess. Okay, sigmoid, and this is the rectum. It is very close to the sacrum. Okay, rectum is in contact with pelvic surface of the third to fifth. Okay, this is L5, S1, S2, 3, 4, 5, cop 6, right? So it's 3. Okay, this is 1, 2, 3. This one is 3. Vertebrae with the bifurcation of the superior rectal artery between rectum and the third sacral vertebra. Okay, so that is the pelvic surface. Okay, with its concavity and with its foramina, with its ridges, which has uh, passing of the sacral plexus along with sympathetic chain, right? And also the rectum and sigmoid mesocolon, right? Coming to the dorsal surface, that is, and the back and the posterior superior surface aspect of the dorsal surface bears a raised, interrupted median sacral crust, okay, with 4, sometimes 3 spinous tubercles which represent fused sacral spines, right? So there is median crust. Okay, this one is called as median crust, right? Crista sacralis mediana. Okay, median crust. These are the tubercles which are spines, right? Okay, this is called as medial crust, and this one is called as lateral crust. Okay, lateral surface with lateral crust, and this one is called as crista medialis, intermediate crest, right? So here is the tubercles which are spinous process of the vertebral bodies, right? So you see, this is the superior articular process. Okay. Below the fourth or third tubercle, there is an arched sacral hiatus in the posterior wall of the sacral canal. Okay, that is called as sacral hiatus. You see, this one is called as the opening, right? So you see, you can see the spines. Okay, that is the median crust. Okay, there are no tags, right? The tagged one, the tag itself is the pointer itself is the median crust, right? So let's draw. These are the spines, right? Whereas this is the sacral hiatus, right? So this is the median crust, this is the lateral surface or lateral crust, this is the intermediate crust, right? Superior articular facet, right? These are the foramen. Understand, this is the sacral hiatus, okay? This one is the uh, sacral canal, right? Sacral canal. Right. The height is produced by the failure of the lamina of the fifth sacral vertebra to meet in the medial plane. Right. There is failure to meet, and as a result, posterior surface of the body of the vertebra is exposed on the dorsal surface of the sacrum and called as sacral hiatus. Flanking the median crest, the posterior surface is formed by the fused lamina, and laterally these are four pairs of dorsal sacral foramina. Okay. Like the pelvic foramina, they lead into the sacral canal, right, through intervertebral foramina and each transmits dorsal ramus. Whereas the pelvic foramina transmits ventral ramus. Medial to the foramina, vertically below each articular process of the first sacral vertebra is a row of four small tubercles, which collectively constitute intermediate sacral crust, right? You see that, right? This is intermediate sacral crust, okay? Here it is not so represented well. We'll see that. There are sometimes termed articular tubercles and represent fused contiguous articular process. The inferior articular process of the fifth sacral vertebra are free and project downwards at the sides of the sacral hiatus as sacral cornua. Okay, remember that there is sacral cornua connected to coccygeal cornua by the intercornual ligaments, right? Sacral cornua connected to coccygeal cornua by intercornual ligaments. We'll see that. So you see, uh, medial to the foramina, there are tubercles called as intermediate crust, right? So here is the sacral hiatus and there is the cornua, okay, sacral cornua. Okay, these are the inferior articular processes, right, of the S5 vertebra. So these articulates with the coccyx, right? You see, uh, this is the coccygeal cornea. Okay, they articulate with the sacral cornea, right, like this. The interrupted roughened crust to the lateral side of the dorsal sacral foramina is the lateral sacral crust. Okay, this is lateral to the dorsal foramina, which is formed by the fused transverse processes whose apices appear as row of transverse tubercles. Upper three sacral spinal dorsal rami appears multifidus, right, as they emerge via dorsal foramen. We'll see that. So this is the lateral surface, okay, which has tubercles. Okay. So this is not lateral surface but lateral crest, okay. sorry, lateral crest, crestolateral. So you see, this is the dorsal surface which has sacral canal. Okay, starts here and ends here. This is sacral hiatus, which has inferior articular process called as sacral cornua, right? Which articulates with the coccygeal cornea, which has median crest, right? This is median crest, okay, intermediate crest, and this one is the lateral crest, okay. You see sacral canal, right? Tubercles median crest, dorsal foramina, lateral crest. So this is intermediate crest. 7 is intermediate crest. This is the sacral canal, right? This is the superior aspect view of the sacrum with its ala. You see how ala is there, okay, to the ligaments and the gluteus maximus. Sacral canal, okay. So see, this is the sacral canal, right? You can clearly see that. This is the sacral canal, right? Okay. So this is again the dorsal aspect, right? With hiatus, cornea, sacral canal, median crest, intermediate crest, lateral crest, foramina, right? Coming to the lateral surface is a fusion of transverse process and costal element. Wide above and rapidly narrows in its lower part. The broad upper part bears an articular surface, okay, for articulation with ilium, and area posterior to this is rough, deeply pitted by the attachment of ligaments. The articular surface bound by costal elements is like an inverted L, right? The shorter cranial limb is restricted to the first sacral vertebra. The caudal limb descends to the middle of the third vertebra. Beyond this, lateral surface is non-articular and reduced to in breadth. Caudally, it curves medially to the body of the fifth sacral vertebra at the inferior lateral angle, beyond which the surface becomes a thin lateral border. You see, inverted L, okay? This is the cranial limb, okay? This is the caudal limb, okay? Caudal limb, cranial limb. Cranial limb is for S1 only, right? Whereas the caudal limb extends up to S3. Okay, this articulates with the hip bone, right? So the posterior aspect of this is very rough and okay to attachment of the ligaments, right? The articular surface is covered by hyaline cartilage and formed entirely by costal elements. It shows cranial caudal elevations, intermediate depression beyond which a third elevation is visible in the altar. Rough area between articular surface shows 2 or 3 marked depression for attachment of strong intraosseous sacroiliac ligaments. Okay, you are all learn sacroiliac joint. Okay, below the articular surface of the sacrotuberous and sacrospinous ligaments are attached between the gluteus maximus and coccygeus ventrale. So these are the different relations. We will see that apex inferior aspect of the fifth S5 articulation with coccyx as vowel facet, right? Coming to the canal, found by sacral vertebral foramina and is triangular in section, right? Upper opening seen on basal surface appears to be set obliquely. The inclination of the sacrum means that it is directed cranially in the standing position. Okay. So the sacral canal directed cranially. Okay. That means towards it. Each lateral wall presents 4 intervertebral foramina through which the canal is continuous to the pelvic and dorsosacral canal foramen. Caudal opening is called as sacral hiatus. We already learned this. Canal contains cauda equina. This is very important, and phylum terminal. Okay, there is no spinal nerves because the spinal cord ends at the L1 level. Okay, in the previous class we have learned that. So there will be cauda equina only and phylum terminal and the meninges up to some point. Opposite the middle of the sacrum, subarachnoid and subdural spaces closed. Okay, at the middle of sacrum, you will see that. Lower sacral spinal roots and phylum terminal pierces the arachnoid space dura at the level. Phylum terminal with its meningeal coverings emerge below the sacral hiatus and passes downwards across the dorsal surface of the fifth sacral vertebra and sacrococcygeal joint to reach the coccyx. Okay, phylum terminal reaches coccyx. The fifth sacral spinal nerves also emerge through hiatus medial to sacral cornea and groove lateral aspect of the fifth sacral vertebra. You see, spinal cord ends at L1 level, right? This is called as cauda equina, like the tail of the horse, right? So you see, this is the sacrum. Sacrum has only cauda equina, and you see here it is arachnoid dura, cauda equina entering sacral canal, and here it is phylum terminal. You see, this is cauda equina, right? This is like a tail, and arachnoid matter and dura matter, right? So this one is called as phylum terminal. Okay, that is last terminus. Okay, again phylum terminal. Okay, cauda equina and phylum terminal. You see, conus medullaris at the L1 level. Okay, spinal cord ends at L1 level. Okay, this is in the newborn. Arachnoid space ends at S1. Right. This is lumbar system where we introduce to tap the cerebrospinal fluid from the heart. You see, this is L1, this is L3. This is coccyx. S2 is, here there is S1 and S2, right? With this, there will be end of arachnoid space, right? Here we punctures. The pelvic surface gives attachment to piriformis and iliacus and coccygeus, right? Dorsal surface gives attachment to the upper neuritis of erector spinae along with U-shaped spinous process multifidus. So piriformis, iliacus, coccygeus, erector spinae, multifidus, gluteus maximus, right? Sacrotuberous and sacrospinous ligaments. You all see that. Okay. You see, this is where iliacus it is attached, and this is piriformis, right? Sacral foramina sac coming. This is multifidus and erector spinae. Here where gluteus maximus attached. Okay, this is called as inferior sacral angle. Okay, inferior angle. This is piriformis muscle. This is sacrum, right? Observe that piriformis and this is coccygeus, also called as this is coccygeus, right? Coccygeus muscle. See, this is the multifidus muscle attached to the sacrum, right? And this is erector spinae. Okay, these are erector spinae is not a single muscle, right? So the fascia of the erector spinae attaches like this in between the multifidus. Okay, this is multifidus and erector spinae. You see, this is the erector spinae uh, fascia, and this is multifidus, right? And coming to the different ligaments, right? For sacroiliac joints or anterior sacroiliac ligaments, intrasacroiliac ligaments, and posterior sacroiliac ligaments, right? You remember from the sacroiliac joint, right? This is the anterior sacroiliac ligaments. Okay, they attach to the sacrum here, right? And also lumbosacral ligament also, lumbar to sacrum. Okay, anterior sacral ligament. This is anterior sacroiliac ligament. This is intrasacroiliac ligaments, which is covered by posterior sacroiliac ligament, right? The most stable and most toughened structure in the sacroiliac ligament joint is introsacroiliac ligaments. Okay, You already learned that. You see, intraosseous cut edge, right? And this is posterior. So intraosseous is covered by posterior, right? Ligaments. All of these are attached to the sacrum, right? And also there is sacrospinous ligament that is from sacrum to spine, right? Ischial spine, right? And there is sacrotuberous ligament, okay? Tuberosity of ischium, right? So these are the structures, right? Sacrotuberous and sacrospinous ligaments that give stability to the hip bone and sacrum in the entire pelvis. There are some very variable features between male and female in order to accommodate fetus. Okay, in order to accommodate a child, okay, growing child, there will be many differences between male and female pelvis. Right? We go through that. We have coming to the you see how the sigmoid colon is there, right? This is sigmoid colon related to the sacrum, right? And sigmoid colon along with rectum. Okay, that is sacrum. You see how they are related, right? This is the anterior, this is the posterior part. This is very near to the bone, right? Very near to the bone. So these are the muscles. You see, this is psoas major, and that is iliacus. Iliacus. In this atlas, there is no connection between sacrum and iliacus, but iliacus has connection with the ala, right? And you see, this is selected structure is piriformis, right? The piriformis muscle, right? This is coccygeus muscle, right? So these are the muscles that are related to the sacrum, right? Piriformis anteriorly, right? The thing you are seeing is pelvic cavity. So the pelvic cavity volume is increased by the concavity of the pelvic surface of the sacrum, right? This is the sacrum. This is the alpha disc, alpha. Coming to the so the if you these are the back muscles. So okay, that is latissimus dorsi, that is most superior. We'll hide it. Okay, so these are the intermediate group, right? These are the erector spinae. Okay, intermediate group erector spinae, they attach to the sacrum, right? That is the sacrum. Erector spinae attached to the sacrum, right? We will hide them. So what you are seeing is multifidus, right? This is the most innermost part of the muscles of the back, right? That is the multifidus. So that is the multifidus, right? If you hide that, right? So multifidus and adductor spinae, right? This is the gluteus maximus. It coming from the inferior angle of the sacrum. Okay, that is sacrum. Hope you understand. You see, these are the different. You see, sacral plus sciatic nerve. That is. These are the spinal nerves S2. This is S1, and this is S3, S4. This is right. You see how they are emerging. If we add muscles, right, and I multi-select, you see these are coming in front of the piriformis muscle, right? Spinal nerves are coming in front of the spine, piriformis muscle. Whereas if we see the sympathetic trunk, okay, this is the sympathetic chain, right? Sympathetic trunk, okay, this side and this side, okay, okay, that is the sympathetic trunk, okay. It is very attached to the bone, right? Very near to the bone, whereas the spinal nerves are emerging in front of the what do you call it, piriformis muscle, right? So that is regarding sacrum. If you have any doubts, let me know, right?